Mr. Stone, quiet. Mr. Stone is going to speak. He speaks for himself. You know that Roger Stone has always spoken for himself. He's never been shy about telling his story. He is innocent. We're going to defend this case, and we're going to win this case. But let me start out by saying that the spectacle this morning was completely unnecessary. Everyone knows where Roger Stone is. He's not in hiding. The spectacle this morning with a SWAT team breaking into his house, searching the house, scaring his wife, scaring his dogs, completely unnecessary. A telephone call would have done the job, and Mr. Stone would have appeared. But let Roger speak for himself. There's nothing to hide. He has nothing to hide, and he's spoken before, and he'll speak to you now. Roger?
Congratulations, Roger. Got you, Roger.
Thank you.
Stand with you, Roger.
Thank you. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. As I have always said, the only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. After a 2-year inquisition, the charges today relate in no way to Russian collusion, WikiLeaks collaboration, or any other illegal act in connection with the 2016 campaign. I am falsely accused of making false statements during my testimony to the House Intelligence Committee. That is incorrect. Any error I made in my testimony would be both immaterial and without intent. I find it disturbing that the Special Counsel's Office released a press release prior to informing my attorneys that I would be charged today. This morning, at the crack of dawn, 29 FBI agents arrived at my home with 17 vehicles with their lights flashing when they could simply have contacted my attorneys, and I would have been more than willing to surrender voluntarily. They terrorized my wife, my dogs. I was taken to the FBI facility, although I must say the FBI agents were extraordinarily courteous. I will plead not guilty to these charges. I will defeat them in court. I believe this is a politically motivated investigation. I am troubled by the political motivations of the prosecutors. And as I have said previously, there is no circumstance whatsoever under which I will bear false witness against the president, nor will I make up lies to ease the pressure on myself. I look forward to being fully and completely vindicated.
Roger, did you in any way cooperate with the Special Counsel's Office? Did you in any way cooperate with the Special Counsel's Office?
Since I was not contacted prior to the charges today, and my lawyers have not talked to the special prosecutors, I don't want to address that question, but I have made it clear I will not testify against the president.
But will you
because I would have to bear false witness against him.
Will you work with the prosecutor?
I will be appearing for an arraignment in D.C. next week, and I'll address those questions at that time.
Roger, the president said that you had guns. He tweeted that. What do you think he meant by that?
Well, I intend to tell the truth. I have told the truth through this entire proceeding, and I will prove that in a court of law.
How strong are you going to ask the president for a pardon?
I am one of his oldest friends. I am a fervent supporter of the president. I think he is doing a great job of making America great again.
Roger, did anyone tell you to contact, in the Trump campaign, to contact WikiLeaks?
No, I've addressed that before. That is incorrect.
Roger, look at the indictment. If you were convicted, do you think the president would pardon you?
Pardon me?
If you were convicted, do you think the president would pardon you?
The only person I've advocated a pardon for is Marcus Garvey.
From NBC News, sir.
Yes.
The question is, did you in any way work with the Russians to help President Trump?
Categorically categorically not. No, absolutely not.
And the prosecutor, the special prosecutor,
We got you, Roger.
is gathering
We got your back, Roger.
Will you in any way?
With all due respect, I haven't even had a chance to read the indictment.
You haven't even read the indictment.
Correct. My attorneys have. I have not had that opportunity.
So will you help the prosecutor to answer his question?
I will address those questions next week in Washington, D.C.
Roger,
Thank you.
if you didn't do nothing wrong, what do you think you're here?
It's your turn to be mayor.
You see Roger Stone now stepping back toward the courthouse after just speaking to reporters outside the courthouse in Florida. I mistakenly called this an arraignment earlier. He will be arraigned in D.C. next week. This is his initial appearance after being indicted this morning by the special counsel. If you were watching the entirety of that, there you see it again. A Nixonian salute from a man whose dirty tricks in politics goes back to the Nixon years in American politics. Roger Stone denying emphatically the charges. He said he has not had a chance to read the indictment. He says he will not testify against the president because doing so, Roger Stone's words, would require him to bear false witness, meaning to lie about the president. What else did we learn?
I don't think, I mean, we learned that he's going to fight back, that he's going to keep talking. I mean, they showed up at his house this morning before dawn, in part because of the way that Roger Stone has conducted himself throughout this, while knowing essentially that he was under investigation. But I was talking to, Roger Stone's friends in the last couple of days, and they said they've watched what happened, that Roger Stone has watched what happened to Paul Manafort, and he does not want the same thing to happen to him. He says he looks at what happened to Paul Manafort, former Trump campaign chairman who's been convicted on a number of charges.
Also a former business partner of Roger Stone's.
And a former business partner of Roger Stone's, and says Manafort's reputation has been smashed to smithereens, and so I'm going to go out there every day and I'm going to fight. I'm going to go on TV, I'm going to go on InfoWars, I'm going to write for the Daily Caller, and I think this tells you that he's going to continue that same approach now that they've officially brought these charges against him.
It also gives you...
He said he made a point of, no, he said that the FBI agents, the way they came, he said if they just called me, I would have come in. I want to, are there guidelines?
Yes.
Are there reasons that the FBI, that's what I'm going to get to, that they had some reason to believe. They're talking about like they did when they got the special warrant for Michael Cohen, who's an attorney for the president. They're worried about destruction of evidence, right?
So when you look at Michael Cohen, when you look at Paul Manafort, they essentially were in more cooperative modes with the FBI and the investigators, so they were allowed to surrender. Roger Stone, if you look at all the rhetoric, all the things that he has said publicly about the FBI, about Mueller, parts of this investigation, there was probably enough concern there for the FBI that if they gave him a heads up that he was going to be arrested and that they would like him to surrender. In these kinds of cases, normally you would see that. But there was something different here, and I'm sure there was concern on the part of the FBI about giving him a heads up that they were planning to do this. They wanted to do search warrants at his home, so they wanted to get evidence. They could have been afraid that he was going to destroy evidence if they gave him a heads up that they were coming. But the other thing is, maybe they thought he could potentially flee. You do these things for the element of surprise, and there is a reason for it. And it also, look, I have seen raids far worse than this, where the FBI goes in with real, gang guys, and they're throwing smoke grenades in there and trying to really distract people. You don't see that here. They knocked on the door, they told them they were there, come out. It was very orderly, and the idea that they did anything different that they would normally do. The only thing different is that they did not allow him surrender, and there is a reason for that. He just has not been cooperative.
They can't get this warrant to do it the way they did it without presenting probable cause to a judge, correct?
Right, and the nature of these charges is going to take away their respect for any possibility to give him some deference, because the nature of the charges is he's lying repeatedly, he's trying to influence a witness as well, and that's another reason not to give him a chance to turn himself in. About him fighting back, to Sarah's point, if this is the same judge as was on Manafort, which is Judge Jackson, he's going to have to be silent. She's going to most likely tell him, quit talking. He's not going to be able to continue this public fight. It's going to be a gag order.
But I think we also learned from there why Trump and Stone have been so close for so long. They both like a show. And that was essentially a show there. That was a spectacle. They like the publicity. They like being out there. I wouldn't be surprised if the president is in the White House right now watching this and enjoying what he's seeing on television.
I also want to make a point, like, some people are thinking, well, is this a way to get him to cooperate? Is Mueller doing this? I think it's very clear he has no intention on cooperating, and I think Mueller realizes that this is the charges for now, whether or not there's going to be more information. But I think people need to accept the idea that Roger Stone, highly unlikely, will never cooperate with the special counsel, and we don't even know that they want him to cooperate.